Hello everyone, for today's video I have a full Future Super Saiyan themed moveset. I'd say about 5 million people suggested this, so if you have any moveset suggestions for yourself, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and the most interesting ones will be used for future videos. And of course, if you do enjoy these videos, please leave a like, and if you want to see videos similar to this one, I will leave a link at the top of the description which will take you to my Xenoverse 2 online fights playlist. So I was going to do this moveset anyway because of the Future Super Saiyan transformation that we now have, but I wanted to wait until Future Gohan became a mentor before I did this. So getting into the moveset, I could only realistically use attacks from Future Gohan and Future Trunks. So we have Burning Attack, Masenko, Burning Slash and Senko Ki Blast as my 4 supers, the one-handed Kamehameha Mark II and Heat Dome Attack as my 2 ultimates, Future Super Saiyan of course as my transformation, and Energy Dome as my evasive. Now I'm personally not a big fan of this moveset. I think it's more of a gimmick more than anything, but I mean Masenko and Burning Slash are very fast attacks to use. They're not that strong, I mean they're decent, but I can just think of stronger attacks like a fully charged Gallic Gun for example. And Senko Ki Blast, I mean it can be good if you go for a stamina reset and your opponent tries to dash into you, but even then that's something that's very situational, and in the long run I just don't think it's worth having Senko Ki Blast on. I would definitely recommend something like Super After Image or After Image Strike, especially if the only reason you're going to use Senko Ki Blast is to try and get some more time when you go for a stamina reset. And Burning Attack, it does decent damage I suppose, but it takes a long time to fire, and the Ki Blast itself moves pretty slow. So I mean I just don't think it's worth it to be honest, especially in a competitive scene. Now as far as Energy Dome goes, I'm not sure if this is something that only protects you from the basic Ki attacks or from Super and Ultimate Ki Blasts. If it does indeed protect you from Super and Ultimate Ki attacks, then that's great, it's a very good evasive, but in the fight in this video a situation did come along where my opponent used one on me and I had to use Energy Dome. So if it does actually protect you, then it's just something that you probably won't need that much, and it does take a little bit of Ki to maintain it, but I mean Vanisher Guard would just be better in general to be honest. And finally, Heat Dome Attack and the one-handed Kamehameha Mark II as my 2 ultimates. Now they do a lot of damage and I do actually hit with them a few times, but if you're going to use these in a competitive scene, for example in the World Tournament, then I'd recommend replacing the one-handed Kamehameha Mark II with the ×4 Kaioken Kamehameha and Heat Dome Attack with Super Ki Explosion. So going into the first fight, I scanned my opponent's attacks and I did have to laugh because he's got Soul Punisher and Blue Hurricane, and I'm thinking there's no way he's going to hit with both of those, or either. Now granted they both do a lot of damage. Well, I'm not actually sure if Blue Hurricane still does a lot of damage because I've never seen anyone hit with it in Xenoverse 2, but those are 2 of the hardest attacks to hit with in the game, so it, you know, it just sucks for him to be honest. So there he went for the Vanish as I was going to finish off the heavy combo, and then he backdashed, so in my opinion he just wasted 2 bars of stamina there. I go for Future Super Saiyan and immediately try and hit him with the Burning Attack, misses because it's just way too slow. I had a feeling he was going to vanish there, and as you saw I perfectly predicted it. And talking of predicting your opponent, someone left a comment on a previous video, it was a few weeks ago, and the comment said something like, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said that Burcol is trash and the only reason he wins is because he can predict his opponent. And I'm laughing as I'm saying that because that's just something that, oh god, I mean, it's just a bit stupid to be honest, isn't it? In boxing, you have to predict when your opponent is going to hit you so you can dodge it. So it's like, you know, it's like, oh god, let's just move on. So I broke my opponent's guard earlier, and I probably shouldn't have done that because I now have very little stamina myself, and I pretty much can't do anything now, and that's a huge disadvantage to using this moveset. If I had, for example, After Image or even Instant Transmission, then I would be able to protect myself while I regenerated a bit of stamina. Even if I had Do or Die, I could use that and that would reduce the damage that I take while I regenerated a bit of stamina. It definitely wouldn't be ideal to use Do or Die over Instant Transmission or After Image or even Phantom Fist in a situation like this, but that would be something that's better than nothing at all. So he broke my stamina here and went for a very quick, not even a fully charged, regular Kamehameha, and now I'm thinking, well, I should be okay because I don't think he'll be able to use the Blue Hurricane, he just won't have enough time, and his Soul Punisher, he would have to get me in a bit of a combo first, so I'm thinking, well, as soon as I get enough stamina, I should be able to finish this match off. I went for the Energy Dome a little bit ago, thinking it would send him flying back, but it didn't. I think it does if you finish it off by expanding it a little bit, which requires a bit of Ki, but I just didn't have time to do that. So I vanished there and got the perfect block off when he went for the back hit, and I'm thinking now that, well, I've got no stamina, but neither does he, and it's kind of an even matchup. I hit him with the Masenko there, and I think that's the reason why I win this match. but because that was such a close fight at the end, I decided to give this guy a second fight. So this second fight, we both picked the same preset, and of course I picked Namek, as you can see, but because of how close the last fight was and how quickly he turned, I decided to focus more so on the melee side of things here, because I'm not a big fan of this moveset. So he goes to the Kamehameha there. I went for the Senko Ki Blast, which was just perfect timing. I accidentally vanished there and actually meant to go for the back hit, and I just must have misclicked, I can't remember. We go into another clash, and as we exit it, my camera angle is just completely screwed because of the spaceship. So I went for the second Senko Ki Blast, and I was thinking that he was going to rush into me, but he didn't. He stood still instead, and I was thinking, well, maybe he thought he had enough ki to use one of his ultimates, I'm not sure. So here he goes for Super Saiyan 1, I break his guard, and at this point I'm going to be able to do enough damage that he just simply won't be able to recover from. So in a moment, as I sent him flying down, I'm going to dash into him and hit him with the Heat Dome attack, and I wasn't really expecting that to connect, I just wanted to see what would happen. But because he had a broken stamina bar and he just couldn't move out of the way in time, it did a ton of damage. In Xenoverse 1, you couldn't really use it. I mean, there was a very specific build where it was all centered around Heat Dome attack and you had like low health in general. So if it did hit, then it would just leave you with like 10 or 20% of your total health. That build was pretty cheap in my opinion, and you only saw a few people use it because it was a very noobish moveset to an extent. So I'm not sure what happened to this guy at this point, because he's just standing completely still. I'm not sure if he had to run AFK or something, or if he just gave up and didn't want to disconnect. But you just saw there, I broke his guard after teleporting and finished him off with a Masenko, and that was a very disappointing second fight, to be honest. It just felt like towards the end he knew he couldn't win, so he just gave up. But with that being said, let's move on to the third fight. So in the next fight, my opponent picks Hits Awoken form, and I rarely see people who use this preset use Pure Progress, which is a bit of a shame. I think this guy did use it, so we'll just have to wait and see because I can't really remember. As we exit the clash, he goes for the jump spike, and there's just no way in hell that was going to hit me. So I go for the Senko Ki Blast there for no real reason. I get the back hit there because he moved out of the way, and I went for a second Senko Ki Blast, and he's going to go for a second jump spike there, and I'm thinking, why? There's just no way in hell that was going to connect. It just wouldn't. So I'm thinking, well, maybe this guy hasn't used hit that much before, or he doesn't know what that attack was. So we're kind of just feeding each other out at this point. He went for the flash skewer there, it missed because I vanished. So it is fairly even at this point. We both roughly have the same amount of ki and health. Now granted, I do have a lot more stamina than he does, so I go for Future Super Saiyan there, and I go for the Heat Dome attack because I wasn't expecting him to move out of the way. I was expecting him to hit me, and I'm not sure if he did, but because he didn't have enough stamina to use his evasive, that was just going to connect and do a lot of damage. And you can see right now, again, like in the last match, I'm in a very good place right now. So I think he's running away here just to try and get some stamina back, or maybe he thinks he can't win at this point, I don't know. So I vanished there, and I did think he was going to go for the backbreaker time skip, but he didn't. And because I'm in a very good position right now, I'm thinking I can definitely get away with a stamina reset, just in case I'll need it later on. So I go for it, my stamina's recharging, he rushes into me, and I use the Senko Ki Blast, which is what I mentioned earlier. Like, it's very useful in that regard. But I think if they go for the homing dash, then you're just going to be completely screwed, because I just don't know if the Senko Ki Blast will work in that situation. Test it out, let me know, but as I've just said, I just don't know if it will work. So my stamina has recharged, but it doesn't matter anyway, because he gets me in the goddamn stamina break. So all of that was just completely useless. He hits me with the flash skewer, but thankfully my stamina recharged fast there. So here he gets enough stamina back just from me hitting him to be able to vanish. And in a moment he's going to go for a stamina reset by dashing, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but either way I sent him flying down and I hit him with the one-handed Kamehameha, and that will do just enough damage to put him away. I mean, it was an okay match, but I just think the guy just didn't know what he was doing with hit. I think if he played with his avatar, it would have been a more intense fight, but I mean, who knows. So the next fight, I scan my opponent's moveset, and he's got the God of Destruction's Anger, Go Gum, and Dragon Flash Bullet. Now, I've said this before, I don't consider the Go Gum and the Dragon Flash Bullet combo on their own cheap. I consider it cheap if you get your opponent in absolute zero and then use it, because I mean, realistically, you can only use Go Gum if your opponent is completely still and not moving. So I mean, if you can hit Go Gum without using the God of Destruction's Anger or absolute zero, then fair enough, that's completely fair game. And you'll see what this guy does later on in the fight. So there, he went for Super Saiyan 3, but because I was still stuck in the combo animation, I couldn't defend myself against the knockback effect. Now granted, I could use my evasive, but I don't think that would have done anything really. So I've noticed that this guy goes for the back hit when I vanish, and I was thinking that, well, maybe I can get a bit of practice in here, but I'm not very successful at it. So he went for a stamina break, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, like the last guy, but I sent him flying down here, and I'll go for the one-handed Kamehameha Mark II, and immediately, and I wish I didn't do this, immediately charge it up to the stage 2, and that did hit him there, but it didn't do that much damage, so I kind of just wasted a lot of ki. And because we're both in this crevice here, neither of us had a good camera angle to work with. I know for a fact I didn't. I'm not sure if he did or not, but it doesn't matter at this point because he seems to be flying out with the basic light combo. He vanishes or teleports to continue it. I tried to hit him fast there just so he wouldn't be able to go for the back here, and this next part is debatable whether or not it's cheap or not. You just saw I had 3 bars of stamina, and I could have gone for the evasive when he tried to go for the God Destruction's Anger, but that's not really what this video is about. I mean, if you do think it's cheap, then fair enough. If you think it's legit, then again, fair enough. So he went for the Go Gum, and you guys know what's going to happen next. He's going to hit me with the Dragon Flash Bullet, and I don't think that's really happened to me yet online, at least not in the video. So at this point, I consider this fight just a regular competitive fight. I'm not really trying to record anything here. So from this point on, in this fight, I start playing competitively and the best that I can. I'm not trying to be flashy, I'm just trying to win because of the combination he just got me in. So thank you guys for watching so far, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
Mm-hmm.